Pat Swain from the Thompson Agency, Regional Vice President of Sales. And I thank everybody for joining the call this morning. I think we have a really exciting topic to go over today. And I think for anybody who's working in the business market, this is definitely a strategy that you have to know about. It might not be right for everybody, but I think having the knowledge to understand how it works, who it benefits, is definitely going to be helpful. And so that topic that we're going to discuss is Executive 162 bonus. So this is a business protection strategy to help retain top talent. So I really think business insurance is an untapped market for some advisors. Some have created a niche in this market, but I think the number one thing that stops people from maybe attacking opportunities in the business space is knowing about what strategies are available and how they work. So, before I go into this, I really think exec bonus makes sense for small businesses who are looking for a supplemental benefit for key employees, but deferred comp is too expensive and it also too costly to administer. So this is a simple yet effective way to provide that type of benefit. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, when addressing this need, it's really been determined through research that the number one threat facing business owners today is competition. So that means that small businesses are looking for ways to both retain, reward, and recruit key employees. So properly structured executive bonus plan, can assist key employees' life insurance funded with a bonus to the employee that is tax deductible to the employer. So that's a key thing. A lot of times, it is about benefiting the employee, but if we can help the employer as well, now you've killed two birds with one stone. So unlike a deferred comp where there's no tax deductibility until the benefit's actually paid out, here you're getting a tax deduction when the premium is actually paid, when that bonus is actually paid. And it's treated just like a salary, the way a salary is deductible to a corporation. So why would an executive bonus plan make sense to both the employer and the employee? Well, first, the employer can fully discriminate and choose which employees they want to offer the plan to. A properly structured executive bonus arrangement is generally not subject to IRS Section 409A. So 409A puts strict rules in place for employers, and heavy fines may be imposed for noncompliance. So it's something that you want to avoid, especially with smaller companies who might not be able to administer or would have to pay a high cost to administer plans that are subject to 409A. So many traditional methods of providing non-qualified executive benefits are subject to 409A. This is not. So that's a major benefit. The employer can deduct the bonus, as we mentioned, paid to the employee as a salary expense. Of course, it has to be within reasonable compensation limits. And a Section 162 bonus plan can be cost-effective and flexible for both the employer and employee. An executive bonus 162 plan provides a way for key employees to purchase life insurance using employer dollars and to use the policy to accumulate tax-deferred cash value accumulation for supplemental retirement income. There's also no required distributions at age 70 and a half, as there are for IRAs and certain qualified plans. There's also no 10% penalties for accessing funds prior to 59 and a half. So some nice benefits there. So how do we go about administering the executive bonus plan? Well, the first step to setting up the executive bonus plan is for the employer to first decide which key employees they would like to reward and then enter into a bonus arrangement with those employees. And let me just state how simple this is there's literally, I have a 2-page boilerplate document that I could send all of you that goes over it. It's really simple language. You don't even need a lawyer to set this up. Ideally, a lawyer, you'd want to have them review it, but you don't really need one. It's really simple. And it's just a 2-page document that both the employer and employee would have to sign to enter into this agreement. So next, with the help of the employer, the key employee is going to purchase life insurance And the key employee is the owner of the policy and names the beneficiary to the policy. So benefit to the employee there is they have control. The policy's theirs. They could do what they want with it. Con, because I also want to tell you the con of this approach is that the employer does lose control in the fact that it is owned by the employee. But they're also going to, if the employee leaves, they're going to lose that bonus. So you're giving them that extra benefit to stay. It's not so much the policy itself, it's that extra bonus that's going to entice them to want to stay with the company. Then the employer is going to make premium payments on the policy, and the premium payments are treated as bonus income to the key employee. The key employee pays tax on the bonuses at their ordinary income tax rate. The key employee's survivor beneficiary would receive the death benefit income tax free, just as they would as if the employee bought this policy in themselves and paid with their own dollars. Additionally, since the key employee is the owner of the policy, he or she has access to tax-deferred accumulation and living benefits through policy loans or withdrawals. So the first step to setting up a 162 bonus plan is for the employer to first decide which key employees they're going to choose to reward, and then enter into this executive bonus arrangement. Next, with the help of the employer, the key employee purchases a life insurance policy, which we'd be happy, to kind of determine what's the best product. Typically, we're seeing a lot of index ULs because of the accumulation potential and the downside protection, as well as some of the unique features, chronic illness riders, unique loan features that really allow a great amount of leverage when taking distributions. The key employee is the owner of the policy, as we mentioned, and names the beneficiary. Then the employer makes the premium payments on the policy, and the key employee pays tax on the bonuses at those ordinary income tax rates. So at death, as we mentioned, it's going to be treated just as it would as if the employee had taken it out on themselves and paid the premium. It's an income tax-free death benefit. The key thing is you have to make sure that the income tax is reported on the bonus. So more likely, you're going to focus on the living benefits. So since the employee is the owner of the policy, they're going to have access to take out distributions and really take advantage of all the benefits that we see with an optimally designed, max cash value type product, whether it be IUL or a fixed current assumption UL or whole life even, which again, we have access to many different carriers, and we'd be happy to customize a product for your client's needs. So here's an example. Phil is the founder and majority shareholder of Packaging in Action, a closely held C Corp with 25 years of experience and 98 employees. Greg, the plant manager, is vital to the continued success and positive growth of the business. And so one of Phil's main concerns is competition from larger businesses in the same industry, and believes PIA is at a substantial risk of losing key employees to the competition. Right away, we should be thinking exec bonus for the benefits we mentioned. You don't have to, you can pick and choose which employees participate. There's no 409A guidelines to abide by in compliance, and there's a lot of flexibility. So while Phil can't provide significant non-qualified benefits to all his employees, he is willing and able to provide Greg with a non-qualified benefit that will not only encourage Greg to remain with PIA, but to continue to work until retirement age. Again, if he leaves, he takes the policy with him, but now he's going to have to pay that premium himself versus having PIA give that to him as this nice bonus. So what is Phil and Packaging in Action looking for? They want a simple way to reward and encourage employees to remain with the business. They want to help supplement these key employees' future retirement benefits, as well as providing them a meaningful benefit today. Remember, deferred comp, you're not getting anything until the back end, except for maybe a death benefit. You don't have access to taking out distributions while you're still working. You would with this arrangement, which is great. Again, more flexibility, more simple to administer. The business wants a plan that's easy to implement and allows the business to deduct the bonuses today. Especially with C Corps, although C Corps are less common in today's small business market. So with C Corps, this deductibility at the corporate level. Even with an S Corp, though, you get deductibility, but it's passed through to the individual shareholders. So either way, you're getting bonuses deducted. But with C Corps, it makes even more sense. Now, keep in mind, this was a Lincoln presentation, so I'm presenting on the Wealth Advantage Index UL here in this example. However, there's really a plethora of carriers that offer really competitive Index ULs to choose from. Just a few to mention: North American has a strong one with the Builder IUL, and Minnesota Life's Omega Builder IUL is also very competitive. So this is where the advisor is going to introduce the Lincoln Wealth Advantage IUL to help retain and reward Greg for his loyalty to Packaging in Action. So the Wealth Advantage, this product has a 1% guaranteed floor and a 10% cap, is one product that can be designed to help solve the protection needs, income needs, and business needs of a client with a conservative market outlook. Again, you're getting that 1% guaranteed floor and a cap of 10%, which provides nice upside. And while this product can be designed in a number of different ways, today we're going to focus on the business needs of Phil and Greg. So before we get into the design of the bonus plan, let's look at a few key facts. Packaging in Action has a 34% corporate tax rate. Greg, age 45, who plans to retire at age 65, has a personal tax rate of 28%. So he's making good money. He'll obviously have to pay a tax on the bonus. And I'll describe another way that he wouldn't have to pay tax, but in this design, we're going to show him paying tax. So he does have some skin in the game, as people like to say. So with the help of his advisor, Packaging in Action, and Greg established a 162 bonus plan. So a Lincoln Wealth Advantage IUL is purchased on Greg. He's the owner and names his spouse, Marcia, as his beneficiary. The advisor recommended the Wealth Advantage because it can not only provide death benefit protection, but also potential income to supplement Greg's traditional retirement assets. So depending on how the agreement is structured, there could be some additional features of the Wealth Advantage that could be useful. Again, chronic illness rider, maybe an early cash surrender value rider. There's term riders that could be added to this product. So some really nice features. PIA is going to pay a $10,000 premium to the insurance company to Greg's age 65, as long as Greg remains employed. So PIA has determined that it wanted to bonus its key employees 10% of their salary. Greg's $10,000 bonus is equal to 10% of his $100,000 salary. So the premium is a bonus to Greg and is recorded as income, which means Greg has to pay tax on the bonus at his 28% tax rate. So he's going to owe $2,800 in taxes a year. Now, as I said, you could structure this as a single bonus where he pays $2,800 a year. He has something, he has some skin in the game, as I mentioned. Or you could do a double bonus where either the company grosses it up or they choose to pay him $10,000 bonus, net it out for taxes, and $7,200 would get deposited into his IUL. So we could make this a zero outlay to Greg, but then less money would get deposited into his IUL unless the company wanted to gross up the bonus. So because Greg owns the policy and PIA doesn't, PIA can take a current tax deduction of $3,400 at that 34% tax rate. So to help Greg understand the benefit of this plan, not only to Marcia if he passes away, but also, to Greg himself for taking out distributions, we're going to illustrate 20 years of distributions starting at retirement from age 66 through age 85. And using a 6% rate of return, which is probably not overly aggressive nor super conservative, he can take out $31,000 of tax-free income per year. So, what does this mean cumulatively? Well, if we look at the total numbers here, you know, him paying taxes each year at 28%, over those 20 years, Greg would have contributed $56,000 versus, again, this is hypothetical, but at 6%, we're able to take out $630,000 out of the IUL policy at 6%, tax-free, mind you, and also leave his beneficiary with a death benefit of $169,000 at his age 85. So this is a cumulative benefit to Greg at age 85 of $744,000. He paid $56,000 in taxes. That is a very strong rate of return on Greg's out-of-pocket expense. And the company was able to deduct premiums, deduct the bonus, and able to retain Greg, one of their key employees. That's the most important part. They're able to retain this key employee over 20 years, you know, 45 to age 65. So what was the advisor able to propose to Packaging in Action? They were able to set up the 162 bonus plan for Greg to retain and reward him for service to PIA. Greg then chose to purchase a Lincoln Wealth Advantage IUL because not only can it provide his spouse with death benefit protection, but it also balances guarantees and growth potential, giving him access to living benefits. So Packaging in Action gave him an annual bonus of $10,000 each year, and they were able to deduct that as a salary expense. And Greg has the potential to take policy distributions during retirement to supplement his traditional retirement assets. By the way, a lot of carriers have these supplemental sales concepts where we could tie in a presentation that's customized to your client. And, you know, from coming from Lincoln, I know theirs, but I do know of a few other carriers that have presentations like this as well. An exec bonus is very common. You know, not every carrier is going to have every type of sales strategy where you can link it to the illustration. Lincoln does a great job, and this is just kind of an excerpt that you're looking at. But again, it's flexible enough to show a variety of agreements, paying taxes from policy values, for instance. So that's another way you can design this. For a lot of IULs, they're very effective at taking early distributions, small distributions, mind you. But you can pay the tax by taking a distribution from the policy. Obviously, that's going to leave you less in the policy for future accumulation and income. But maybe that's what the employer and employee want, you know, zero outlay. Or you could do that double bonus that I mentioned. And so that's the end of the presentation. Just a few quick things I wanted to point out, and then I'll open up the lines. I'll unmute the lines if anybody has questions. But talking about IUL, because I think IUL is a product to look at here, just my personal opinion. But typically you're going to get a guaranteed floor of 0 to 1% on a guaranteed basis. You get upside potential anywhere from 9 to 13%. You get unique loan features. Either fixed wash loans, you get participating loans where the money remains in the index account and you get a guaranteed loan rate. Or more aggressive, you could have a variable loan. Those always illustrate the best, but there's more risk where the loan rate is tied to like a Moody's corporate bond index and can fluctuate. But either way, you get features for distributions that you don't get on other types of products with the IUL. And in my idea with the IUL is use it as a hedge in retirement. You know, what happens if your 401k has a negative 20% return? Does it make sense to take out another 5% to supplement your retirement needs after you just had a negative 20%? That's really going to hurt your plan as a whole. So what about if we could have an IUL that has a floor where you didn't lose anything, and you could take out tax-free income for a few years, and then go back to using your 401k once it recovers. I think that's a great way to use the IUL and a great way to incorporate it in this executive bonus plan. So with that, let me go ahead and unmute the lines. And open it up for questions. Did anybody have any questions, comments, any thoughts on what I just presented? Oh, I see somebody put something in the chat. Yep. I know you said IUL works well here, but can we use whole life as a vehicle? Absolutely. You know, again, my personal preference is IUL, but if maybe your personal preference is whole life because it's better guaranteed cash values, and you might just have a preference towards whole life. Definitely, you can use whole life here. There's really no rules, you know, saying you have to use IUL. Whole life can definitely be used as well. Any other questions? Oh, I have another question. What about ROP term? As far as term goes, I had this come up when I was at Lincoln. I've never seen it used on exec bonus. That's a really good question, and I'll get back to you on that. I'm not positive whether or not we can use term or not, and this is specifically with ROP term, where you get back your premium. I'll find out for you and get back to you on that. I'm not sure if that can be used for exec bonus or not. I know any type of permanent product, you could use a GUL here if it's for death benefit coverage. So a lot of times this isn't about supplemental retirement income. You might just want to provide some additional death benefit for a key employee. You know, maybe you have a 55-year-old key employee who's getting, you know, 10 years to retirement, might not have enough time to really accumulate cash. So you provide them a GUL for a designated death benefit, and same structure that I showed you before, but you do it as a 10 pay, so that's paid up over 10 years. Again, it's another fringe benefit you're creating for your key employee. Any other questions or comments? One more question I had come up. Is the idea short pay always before they retire? It doesn't have to be, but typically I don't think an employer is going to want to obligate themselves to pay once a person has retired. You know, they're going to want to pay. The point is to retain the key employee. So they don't want to be obligated past somebody's retirement age. So typically it's only to whatever they've designated as retirement age, you know, paid age 60, 65, maybe a designated time period, 10, 20 years, totally flexible. But that is the typical design. The other thing you can use here is, you know, you can include an enhanced surrender value rider. Granted, it's not employer owned, but a lot of employees like the idea that it's liquid, and most carriers will allow you to use that type of rider on a business insurance case like this. All right, well, if there's no more questions, I appreciate everybody joining the call today. And again, we'll be doing more business insurance types ideas. Feel free to send us emails or give us a call with ideas that you'd like us to cover. But hopefully this spurs some interest in exec bonus cases come through. All right, I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys joining today, and hope everybody has a great day.